Hello, everyone. So today I'm actually very excited to talk about this topic because we don't generally talk on this topic all that much, especially recently. All the psychological talks that I've been having theoretically and the body of work that we usually, get into. I haven't had a lot of talks on the process or the fear of aging. It's actually called not Girascophobia. Uh, but anyway, excuse my French. Um, I am going to essentially what that means is that you have an intense fear of growing old, even if you are in the best of your physical health. Now, I have Rahat with me to talk on this topic today. I actually wanted somebody who's in the field of psychology and mental health to address the fears that we sometimes may um, feel, but somebody who's also been counseling, let's say, adults, older, or people who are going through their midlife crisis, perhaps. So, if Rahat, you could speak from that frame of reference, from that frame of experience, feel free to add in your own experience as well. That always,
Yes.
I actually recently I did this training, and I in the end, and it's always a good thing when in psychology or with your counselor or therapist, if you want to share some kind of personal experience, or if you want them to share any kind of a personal experience of growth, with you, you can always ask them. Of course, it really depends on your counselor, and if they think that their story of growth would be productive for you as well. But the idea is that if you want to be authentic and you want to share any experiences of your own that may help others to learn and grow through that,
Yes.
why not? Because
Yes.
we generally have this idea that growing old means that you're becoming weak and
Mm.
unwanted. There's a lot of anxiety around that because our social media, our society in general focuses on youthfulness and capability, or we equate youthfulness with capability. So
Exactly.
there's a lot of anxiety around being weak and old, and growing old is essentially, it means that you're becoming unattractive.
Mm-hmm.
So our society regards the idea of growing old with weak and with being becoming irrelevant. So that's something that we're gonna talk about today. I'm especially excited because this is not something that I've talked to anybody on for the live talks that we do, or the recorded talks that we do for Mission ELIXIR. You're the first person, Rahat, to talk to about the process of aging. So what do you want to say about that?
Well, first, I'm really, if this topic hasn't been discussed so much, and I feel honored because I'm also a part of it right now. At present, obviously, going towards it, and not towards it, I am in it. So, exactly like what would we start with? Maybe you could tell me, "Ki, this is what, let's start with this." Because there's a lot of, it's not something we are talking about growing old. It's not something very small. It's a major stage of life.
Yeah,
So we don't usually people do not focus on this stage. Even when we I was young,
yeah,
this was nowhere in my mind that okay, this is also going to happen.
yeah. Okay, what do you think? What causes um, fear of growing old in people? What do you think? What are the factors that you can think about that causes
Well,
fears of growing old?
uh, first and foremost, I think is the societal role and the cultural role that's been playing around. In different countries, it's different. But I think majorly it's the same one way or the other. So you also have come up with a lot of ideas and words that really relate to it. Like you said, feeling redundant. The biggest fear is like becoming useless. I have seen it. I have seen my father going through it, how we saw him change after his retirement. Social pressure and again, loss of youth. I think that would come, for me, in my opinion, would be secondary.
Mhm.
But it is there, the fear is there, okay, because everything is focused on the models we see, the TV programs we see, the movies we see. Everyone is young, beautiful. People have started doing things to themselves, just stay that way. That's a fear of getting old.
Yeah.
I will not be pretty enough or good looking enough. So this is a major problem. Then again, the social stigma, huge. People make fun of even somebody who's just entered the 40s. I've seen nowadays, especially when we're supposed to be more educated, more open minded, people making fun of people who are a bit older. And if they come on the social media and do something,
Yeah.
you need,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, this is also another way of giving messages of you are nowhere, just shut up and shut yourself down. All this contributes to it. Some of it might also be like people also afraid of dying. There's a fear of dying as well,
Absolutely.
the ultimate truth, but people are scared of it. I
Yeah.
think they might, I don't know whatever dynamics are behind that, but that's also a fear. Financial insecurities might get dependent on someone else.
Yeah.
That also is a big fear. Uh, Social isolation, people, good, it's a good concept, the senior homes and that's a nice
Right.
place, but still there is a fear of isolation from the family.
Yeah.
The kids are nowhere, they sometimes they don't even come to visit. uh, Dependency, I'll become dependent in our, like in our country, it's mostly we have the older generation with us, and then they become dependent on the younger ones.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not lucky enough to be, so this is also,
Sometimes it's out of their control as well. It's not
yes,
exactly
yes.
so. So
And
there. Yeah.
when you say control, that's another problem for them, for the older people. Okay, I don't have control now. I used to do everything. Kids were under control. So all this negative cultural media portrayal of older people, a lot of personal experiences, like seeing other people and seeing, like I saw my dad go through that. So for me, I had started, now when I was about, you asked me to do this also came in my mind that a lot of stuff I've been doing is because of what my parents were going through. So I, at a very at an early stage, took some steps. Okay, health wise, I don't want to be there.
Mm. Mm.
So a lot of about all this is playing a major part in every individual's life in different ways. The
And our
first,
fear of growing old. I think
yes,
this is so there are different risk factors involved. The
yes,
physical one is different, and which is sometimes at times
yes,
out of our control.
yes, exactly.
And then there are the psychological factors that go into, and I think there are diverse psychological factors. For instance, staying young and staying relevant in celebrities as well, we find that, right? And in all ages. So it's not just you becoming a middle-aged person to realize, oh, I need to stay relevant.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I've actually seen 16, 17-year-olds go and invest a lot in retinol products or
Yeah.
skincare that they absolutely don't need. And that
Don't.
stems from, I don't want to grow old, or I don't want the biological clock. Nobody wants to work with it, everyone wants to work
Mhm.
against it. Why is that? Why is
This
that?
is, well, it's in my opinion, it's very the main culprit in this factor, getting all the Botox and stuff at a very early age when you don't even need it, is the media. That's my opinion. I might be wrong. People might have other opinion as well. But the major factor for me, because there's so much glamour now, so much glamour that even in our country, and even Hollywood, you see older male actors playing major roles, but the girls just come and go. A very few stick around. And for that, you have to look good. Even news anchors, nothing glamorous about that, but even they want younger ones to be there.
Yeah.
So media, I think for the this is a superficial thing, your body shaming and body, and you have to look a specific way is all revolving around in the media. The messages have been given to us for such a long time that all of us want to be a special way. We want to look, if I am like 55, 60, I would like to look like a 40-year-old. The 40 would like to look like a 20-year-old. So it's all through the media that we get.
Exactly. Okay.
The
So
stigma is a very strong stigma and the negative portrayal of older people. And I usually don't even say old. I like to say seniors. It sounds more respectful for me.
yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
what are there, can you come up with maybe like a few examples of the negative portrayals of senior citizens in our country maybe, or abroad, globally, what kind of negative,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, you
Well,
know,
in our country, it's the main one of the main that usually people joke around is don't call me auntie. Auntie is someone you like the very old person, and people get, and it's a joke for the younger people if they want to somehow uh, tease an older woman or even a man. They call them uncle and auntie, and they get irritated because of that. If you go on the social media, read the comments.
yeah,
You know, it's like teasing and shaming someone. You say, okay, you're an auntie.
yeah.
So in our country, this is something huge. Uh, in other countries, I don't know how it works, but obviously there,
But
the
there are
word,
globally similar strains of ageism and discrimination based on exactly.
this word is like, and even the retirement age is why? Why would one retire? They can go from one role to some other role. Why become redundant? That's a person working for 50 years, 40 years, being a very productive person, and all of a sudden you say, okay, you are no more capable of doing anything, even if that person is. I can give you my own example for that. I like lately, just my last year, sort of shifted to Dubai,
Right.
and I don't didn't need to. I have a 36-year-old son. My daughter is married,
Mm.
and I felt okay. I am still capable. My mind is like alert. I am energetic. I can do everything. So I decided to go and do something different, something new, and that gave me more energy and literally felt okay. I'm much younger than me. I used to think, okay, at this age, okay, the only thing I can do is sit and advise people. Okay, no,
Yeah.
that's not the person I am. One has to know who he or she is, and then decide on their own. This one has no right. The other has no right to decide for me. What can I do and I can do in the other societies, the Western societies, and now it's okay. So universal fact there is a retirement age.
Yeah.
But who is there to? Why are other people deciding about me? Maybe a 60-year-old man can be more productive, more intelligent, more could give more than a 25-year-old. Why? Who are the other people's deciding this? So I feel seniors should be given a chance, again, a new chance, and they can do something else. There is a lot of work that they can do.
Absolutely. There's actually this movie called The Intern. It's
I've seen it. Such a
exactly, and that movie is all about how, so
yes.
we're not beating down the Gen Z over here or the millennials over
No,
here.
no, no, not
we're,
at
we're,
all. Not
we're
at all.
we're saying that every generation has its own merits and demerits. They have their own place of, they come from their own area of expertise, and they have their own experiences to offer,
Experience.
and that creates your organization more sound, much more efficient, more beneficial for others as well, and it's more inclusive. I think it needs to be our society in order to be productive as well.
Yes.
In order to and men, you know, I actually talk about a lot of mental health outcomes, mental health problems, but we don't realize is that, I think generally people don't realize this, is that the solution to most of our mental health issues is just a realignment of our basic
Exactly.
social mindsets, social ethical lines and boundaries, just a
Exactly.
realignment of that. So
I
whether
agree.
whether it's women rights issues, or whether it's hiring more experienced and older people, perhaps in your organization as well, along the younger lot too, to make it more sound. The business model, especially anyone who has a background in business, that
Mm,
just makes your organization more green, you
yeah,
know, full of
yeah.
expertise, full of diverse skill sets, and it makes your organization beautiful, not
And
just
it's not yeah, and it's not something really physical that you have to physically perform.
yeah.
There's a lot of no, we see a lot of LGBTQ thing going on, and the pronoun thing. Why not do something for the seniors now? Let's look at that as well. In another way, what can we do for them? What can at least I am a part of it now, and there's a lot of work. I've had a group session of 80-year-old male. All of them were really, one of them was extremely depressed, and most of them were, because they used to say, we don't have anything forward to look at. This is, everything is dark in front of us. There is nothing, even though all of them were physically fit, and all they used to talk about was their past, because there was nothing in the present. Nothing, if there's nothing in the present, there's nothing in the future. All was just behind, and they can't go. One would say, I used to climb mountains and I used to do this, but he wasn't fit enough now to do that. So bringing them, obviously we they need to have a support system, friends, family, professionals, therapists, who can bring them in the present, and they can find themselves there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that is one thing, that is because they literally said it's dark, we don't see anything.
Wow. That just goes to show that there are acute health implications of this excessive fear of aging, of
Aging.
growing old.
Old,
Um,
old, and there's nothing there for them there. It's a dark
ex-
hole. There's nothing.
so,
That's what we do to our. It's a big part of the population that can contribute if we uh, have things for them to do. And it's not that there's no work that can be done. There is a lot of consultation, like you said, businessmen, they can be consultants.
yeah, absolutely.
So there's a
Or
lot to do.
join mentorship programs as well.
There is
There's
a
a
lot.
lot, absolutely. Um, I want to now talk about how do we find a way to embrace aging or the process of aging. And this is not just for somebody who's in their 40s or 50s, maybe, or even in their retirement age, let's say
Yeah, yeah,
60s or
yeah, yeah.
70s. How do we embrace without being afraid of it, without that fear of it? Especially maybe there's somebody who's in her 20s right now and she's just ending her career because of growing older. How do you embrace that fear? How do you embrace this whole process without, and
Okay.
also able to enjoy your life? That's
Mhm.
the whole point of everything we do. How do we do
Mhm.
that?
Well, first of all, like you've studied, I've studied, there's crisis in every stage of life. When we say midlife, it's not midlife, it can be in the 20s as well. So planning and preparing for that is one of the key factors. See, we start planning beforehand, prioritizing our things, the things we've been doing, and build a support system. We have to have a support system, like I said, a support system, and be open to learning always. Learn new things. Start hobbies. There is a lot of things, like people like gardening, painting, whatever hobbies that you feel. Start doing that and those hobbies again. Like before, when you're young, you're working like a machinery, but even then, add hobbies, just the me time, fun time. That is not work. You're not getting paid for it. You're just enjoying it. You're not doing it, okay, I have to do it because I have to, achieve this. start those hobbies. Plan, prioritize, find work that you can do. Volunteer work. That's a good place to start. Start some doing some social volunteer work. All this can be done in your 20s. And this is something that goes on and on and on. You can keep it on till you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
this is one thing. Then, so we have social media. Maybe when we're doing it, you can start get connected to people,
Yeah,
your
exactly.
similar mindset, and keep connected to them. This is also a new thing that can be done now.
Yeah.
Family For families, you can be connected to the family, the little ones. Like when we were like 4, 5, 6, our granddad used to gather us around, and he used to tell us stories,
Right.
and we were really excited to. Even now, younger kids would be excited for their grandparents or the seniors to uh, tell them stories.
Yeah.
Start doing all this early. Have a healthy gym, exercise. These are all healthy
So
activities.
finding a support group and then building connections with others greatly impacts the way we communicate
Yeah.
the messages around aging that we get to
Yeah.
us. And I think, in improving the process or an experience of growing old is how we honor it and how we respect the process and how we enjoy it as well eventually.
Like, be grateful
Yeah.
that we had such a long life and we've seen so much. See, there, when we start all this beforehand, can not all the things, but like picking up whatever feel is okay, this works for me, then there is no stagnation when you come to a certain age. When we feel stagnated, okay, I haven't done, I have not been successful in doing this, I have not done this. Okay, what is there for me to do? Like the I told about the clients who said there's darkness, because they had not. They were all uh, okay. Whatever their career was, all of them almost were from the same career, so they didn't pick up anything. So when there is nothing, they feel, see, stagnation. There's no way going forward.
Do you think our society, or when we talk about, let's say, the Asian society, do you think that impacts more the fear of growing old is evident more among our female community or the male ones? Do they feel that more? How is
Mm,
it like? Is it harsher on us rather than the male members?
I I think might be not the male, but I think both are equal.
Your experience?
First of all, we in our society don't let the kids go. That's a
Mhm.
big issue. So we are always involved in the kids, even if they're 40-year old. We will be somehow in the Western society. 18 is like, okay, please go away. We have our own life. So then this is a problem for us as well. We don't focus on ourselves. There is no self. So we don't do anything for ourselves, and then we forget what to do, how to
There's
do
there's
something.
actually a lot of investment.
There-
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no self,
investment that's occurring.
very little self care. And if someone is doing it, that person would be called selfish, because you're not doing more for the kids, not doing more for. So in Asian, in our country, it's one of the reasons that later on they become just
Hmm.
sitting alone in the room. There is no one, because they themselves haven't found.
Invested in their own sense of self and their experience. But
Exactly.
I do think that the experience of the other or the younger, it's different now when it comes to. I do believe that women now invest more on
Yeah.
themselves and their identity, and they're not, and even if they are invested in their own children's well-being, that they also have a sense of this is what I'm going to do, and this is the kind of support system I need to create for myself, and I need to be busy and all of that. So they do have certain, I would say, different support systems around them. I do think, however, the older generation had a, let's say the baby boomer generation, whatnot, they had a tougher time with this because there was more segregation of roles, and there was, and especially in Asian societies or East Asian societies, there still is in some parts of the world, but
Mhm.
there is not as much so as it was before, which is a blessing in disguise, I think. Otherwise, it would be
I
really
agree with
difficult.
you. I agree with you, but there is still a percentage. For that, you have to go uh, against the cultural and
Correct.
the religious and the societal system. And for that, you have to have courage. So there are people going against it. There are women going against it, and finding themselves. That's finding themselves. So, uh, but they're not looked upon like okay. Very few appreciate them. Very few. But
Welcomed, yeah, they're
yeah,
not as readily welcomed as.
but I think it's a good thing. But we don't know what it'll be when we go to that age where we consider retired. For me, there is no retirement age. That's me. I started my career after my daughter started her A levels. I studied again, and then that's again finding yourself. That was like I think 2012. Now again 2023, I've changed everything. I've changed the country. I'm in a different country. So that's again going against the
So,
normal
can you
situation.
do anything that you want to do, whether it's studying, whether it's a career change, whether it's moving homes or countries or houses at any point in your life, whether it's even getting married a second or third time in your 70s or 60s, whatever it
Everything
is?
is okay. Everything is fine. I have friends who are like late 50s. They're married again. Kids got married, divorced. They divorced, got divorced, whatever reason. They got married again. Nothing wrong with it. And if one has this luxury of moving or studying, why not? And is capable enough.
Is there social acceptability around that though?
I believe so because I'm really appreciated for it. Everyone was appreciating what I have been doing, and yes, the support of from your home is there. Like I said, in our society, this is the main thing that the home has to support you. So I am lucky enough for that support as well. But I feel this is me going towards. Like I said, I saw my dad at 60. He got retired. 61, he died because he felt useless. He used to say this, I am useless now. You guys don't need me.
Mm.
This, first of all, this retirement thing, I feel hasn't doesn't need to even exist. When a person is not able to perform, yeah, then uh, you can have someone else take their place. But if the person is okay, perfectly fine, why? Why make that person put that person in a depressive, non-existent existence state?
Yeah. And you know, physically, our body reacts to the messages that it gets from our brain.
Yes,
So when
definitely.
people fall into really bad illnesses and whatnot, that does come psychologically, mentally, come from somewhere in you. And I think that has a huge impact on your physical well-being, on your
Mhm.
physiological well-being. So absolutely, I completely agree with you there, 100%.
You placing limitations on a human being, on their potentials, on the experiences that they have gathered and learned for such a long time. You just limit them,
Yeah,
so you constrain them.
absolutely.
That is suffocating.
Yeah.
People would not want to be there.
Lovely. All right, Rahat, thank you so much for having this wonderful talk on aging and the process of aging and the fear of growing old for most of us, actually. I started this conversation with what's the fear of growing old for middle aged people, but I feel like by the end of the talk, I do realize that there is that fear in all of us, regardless
Yes.
of our age group and regardless of the phase that we are in life.
Mhm.
And especially in the field of psychology, even if I look at the research, I did research this topic a bit before our talk. I couldn't really find a lot of research that pertains to how do you deal with it, or what actually
Mhm.
occurs within your psyche as you're going through that midlife crisis, and
Mhm.
what can you do? How can you create that support system that you need if you're retired, if your work has retired you? What other avenues can you explore? That's just, I feel like our field should also do more work on this in order
Yes,
to,
exactly.
exactly,
And
exactly.
not like people are just into the senior homes and that. No, we have to uh, have a professional system to find active, positive ways this age group can contribute to the society. A lot of
Absolutely.
work has to be done on that.
Absolutely. All right.
And thank
With
you for
that,
having me. Thank you so much.
no, no, thank you for speaking to us, everyone, whoever listens to this. Thank you so much for speaking about this topic and for being here. All right,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a
Thank you.
nice day.
Yeah.